With us and spending some time with us. We do want to ask you about what's happening right now. It's kind of unfolded in the last 30 minutes. Do you have an update as to what's happening, and what are your feelings about what's happening in Nulu?
Yeah, well, first, thanks for having me. We just got the real-time update that, look, we embrace lawful protests, but when it gets to the point where streets are being blocked and it's unlawful, LMPD arrives, they give an order to disperse, they try to de-escalate. Some people will walk away, as we saw in Nulu, and others just want to be arrested. So we've got to, unfortunately, do that so we can clear the intersection so people can continue to go about their business.
An armed militia group is planning to be in Louisville tomorrow to call for justice for Breonna Taylor. The governor said you've not requested the National Guard. Do you plan to, and do you think it'll be needed?
LMPD's been in touch with this group quite a bit to plan for their event, so that's an encouraging sign, right? Normally when people come, they're wanting to cause trouble, they're not interacting with LMPD. So we have a staging area for them. They'll be coming downtown. They plan to make a few speeches and then return to the park and hit the road. So LMPD has a very precise plan. We'll have a very large presence there as well. So, you plan for the worst, you hope for the best. There's counter-protesters also that said they might come, although we're unsure on that as well. So we'll be prepared for that also.
Mayor, let's talk about the Breonna Taylor investigation just a little bit. Metro Council-elect DeCory Arthur tweeted a source told him the investigation results would be released sometime next week. Do you have any sense of when that could happen? And will you be given any kind of notice?
Yeah, I don't have any information on that. The Attorney General has said that they will give the city notice when they plan to act. So I really don't know any more than anybody else does right now, unfortunately.
You say men and women who have watched the protests in recent weeks, specifically the white community, need to speak up and take greater action. What action would you like to see them take?
Well, I mentioned that in a speech yesterday where I called for greater transparency and accountability as it relates to officer-involved shootings, because there's just not the balance that we need to have between the citizens' right to know and what due process is. And what that does is it leads to lots of feelings about secrecy and cover-up, and cover-ups never work, right? So the truth always comes out. So when I talk about the white community getting more involved, this is a difficult time for some people in the white community as they're having to think about racism and America's 400-year history of racism and how it's led to very unequal results in terms of black Americans and white Americans, how black Americans were redlined out of buying homes as recently as 20, 30, 40 years ago and had inability to earn their own wealth or grow their own wealth like most white families had through owning homes and passing that down through the generations. So we ask all businesses, but especially white businesses, how's your minority purchasing practices? Do you have a diverse workforce? Are you mentoring or tutoring? Are you involved with our Summer Works program to help young black youth find jobs in the program? Are you part of the Reimage program, which works so well to help bring some young person along that maybe doesn't have a strong family situation? So there's lots of ways that white families can help and just kind of be real honest about this and work through any kind of shame that you might have over the history of the country, because we can't control that, but we can certainly embrace what's going on today and create a good future. Some city is going to figure this out, and I would think that Louisville can be that city.
And Mayor, we had a story at the top of the newscast about a group of business leaders expressing concerns about downtown Louisville losing decades of revitalization to the COVID pandemic and civil unrest protests. Can you talk about those concerns and your meeting with those business owners?
Yeah, no, I definitely understand the frustration, but look, we've got a great city. Our city's been on a great roll for 10 years, then the pandemic hit, and then the protest hit. But you know what? It hit Nashville and Indianapolis and Cincinnati. I talked to those mayors as well. That doesn't make our challenges any better. So there's no city in America of any decent size that's not going through what we're going through right now. With the assets that we have, once we come out of this virus and once we work through the protest and have more people involved in racial justice, our city's going to be growing once again. So I know it's tough. The city has done everything that we could in terms of grants and using some of the federal relief money we've had to help with the coronavirus, to help people get through this problem. We're working with the U.S. Senate right now. We hope there's going to be more federal relief for cities because of this COVID-19 problem that's going on. So, look, if I had a magic switch I could pull and solve everything, I would do that, and every mayor in America could do that as well. In the meantime, the only way I do know we're going to get through this is together, but I'm really sorry that everybody's going through this situation right now. It's so frustrating for many.
In a court filing this week, city attorneys say acting police chief Schroeder fired Brett Hankinson based on evidence collected during the PIU investigation. They also say the professional standards investigation has not yet started. Why hasn't any action been taken against the other officers?
Well, one could conclude that if, there was an investigation and Hankinson was terminated, and the reasons for that are in his letter. And that was the action that the chief took based on his review of the file.
And Mayor, last night you spoke about police reform. The Civilian Review Board was created to oversee LMPD, but many of the powers needed to do that job, like issuing subpoenas, require a change in state law. Are you working with the General Assembly to get this done?
Yeah, what's critical is that citizens understand there's a balance so that when they're looking at an officer-involved shooting in particular, they know enough about what's going on that they feel like there's some sense of transparency and accountability is going to take place. And that's why the Civilian Review Work Group was established by myself and the council to get that done. So I fully anticipate that coming out of that, subpoena power is going to be required. So members of the General Assembly are already working on that. We're happy to be doing that with them. We don't know if it's going to be a hard lift or an easy lift, but we're going to need the citizens of Louisville to get behind that as well to make sure that the legislators know that we expect that here in Louisville.
Turning to coronavirus, phase 2 findings of the Co-Immunity Project found the spread in Jefferson County could be 4 to 6 times higher than previously thought. You were part of that announcement yesterday. Does that change your thoughts or plans for the city, knowing how much more widespread it is?
No, U of L's done a great job on this Co-Immunity Project, and we're lucky to have them here in our city. Some of the leading science in the country now coming out of the coronavirus area is done by U of L. So we always knew there were a lot more positives than were being reported. We announce that every time we do report them. So what that means for us as citizens is we just need everybody to do your part, right? We know that wearing the mask is tremendously effective. And I'm really glad to see, I'm proud of our city. Most everybody's wearing masks right now. So the closer we get to 100%, the lower the numbers are going to get. Because the numbers are still going up. And it's very concerning to me now that we've had 4 weeks in a row where we've had increases of 30% one week over the other one, or 40%. So it keeps going up like this. It's not out of control like it is south of here, but it could be if we don't get our act together more in terms of mask and social distancing. So everybody can make a positive impact on this through individual behavior. So I just ask everybody, please do that. Please wear your mask.
And Mayor, we have a couple big events coming up, the Kentucky Derby, the State Fair, still scheduled with positive cases rising. Do you still support those happening?
No, it's a great question. If the numbers start going up like a hockey stick, we're going to have to reevaluate. We can't have out of control coronavirus and have big events like this. Now, these events have already been scaled back significantly, and the State Fair in Churchill Downs has done a really good job on that. But that's why these next couple weeks are just really important to get the virus under control so it plateaus and starts falling again. And again, everybody can make an impact on that. Same thing about going back to school or starting sports. The decisions on all that will be a result of individual actions and choices that people take to wear a mask, stay home, social distance.
We keep getting reports and reports of Bardstown Road, people standing at bars, in bars, standing in line to get in without masks. Why not close bars?
Well, that's right. And we've talked about that on this show before. So our public health people will be out again, once again this weekend for both oversight and education. We've communicated that, if our bars are not complying, they are going to be facing further consequences.
All right, Mayor Fisher, we thank you for your time. Thanks for joining us again.
Thank you all.